Ms. A. Gilbert on Twitter, and my name is Alyssa Gilbert, and I am a current high school teacher in the Thames Valley District School Board, and I'm currently teaching at Arthur Voden in St. Thomas. I posted recently about doing a very different type of test for my 2L class, my Math 2L class. And I wanted to share with you what I did because I had some interest into learning more about what I did other than that was just in the tweet. So I thought I'd do a little video. I actually do have another podcast, so I'm used to videoing myself. So I'll give it a try and I'll put it up, and maybe I'll start doing an education blog and vlog as well. So first I wanted to show you what we start with. I have been using these books, not exclusively. Please don't be mad at me. I do use them as a guide because this is my first time teaching this class. So I use it as a guide as to what to hit in the curriculum. So what we've been doing every chapter, to end the chapter, we do the chapter review, and then I give them the test that comes with the book package. We have electronic versions of those tests. So that's what I did for chapter 1 and 2. But the more PD I've done, the more reading I've done, it just doesn't make sense to test students that way, at least not to me, especially in a 2L and 1L situation. So I went to a PD in the board a couple weeks ago, and one of the sessions that I went to was all about alternative assessments, which was a station exam. And this was developed by someone in the Clark Road Secondary School in London, Ontario. I'm not sharing names today because I'm not sure, I haven't contacted anyone if they want me to share their names, so I apologize, I'm not going to share names at this moment. So what they did is they did set up a station exam where instead of it being all written, the students were moved to 6 or 7 different stations, and they would do something hands-on at each station, and that had been something they had been doing all year round. So I thought, you know what, I think the L students could really benefit from this type of testing situation, and so I decided to do it. So what we did first, I did get them to do the chapter review as normal, and then I looked at the types of questions, and there are 11 questions in the review, but a lot of them ask the same type of thing and assess the same type of thing. So I reduced it to 6 questions on my test. Initially I was just gonna do, maybe 1 or 2 stations, but I decided I looked through these and I decided which ones could be done as hands-on stations and which ones still needed to be done written at their desk, because there are certain things that I wanted them to be able to show on this test. So what I did, I went through, the first question is just terms. I decided I want that to be done at their desk. So that was on the test as a written question. And then the second written question I had was a scale diagram question. So they had seen it before, they had done a number of these. So on the test itself, I had them choose from 3 different shapes. Some were easier than others, and they had to make a 2-to-1 scale diagram, just like they had to do in the workbook. And just so you know, I do let them bring the workbook in with them during a test. At this level, I feel like they need all the help they can get with remembering and recall information. So if they are able to do all the work and then show me they can reproduce the work on a test, but in slightly different context, that's good enough for me. If you have a different level of expectation in your class, that's obviously totally fine. So just make sure that you're following what you normally do in your class and what you want to do in your class. So I'm not saying what I'm doing is the best thing ever, and I'm not the first one to do this, and I didn't come up with these ideas. I'm just using other people's awesome ideas. So those were the 2 written question ones, the terms one and the scale diagram, and that was the first page of the test. The second and last page of the test were 4 stations. So in the book, they needed to measure things both in millimeters and centimeters. And in the book, it's lines. So I sat down with my math coach. Hi, Christy, if you're watching. I sat down with her and she helped me come up with better questions to do as stations. Because initially I was just going to put lines on a piece of paper at a different table and have them walk over there. Well, that didn't make it much sense. So why not have them actually measure things? So all they had to do was measure 3 different items: a paper clip, a highlighter, and a pencil. And that was it for that one. They had to do it in millimeters and in centimeters. The second station, oh, I wish I had the papers to show you, but that's okay. I'm going to post this on my blog, and I'm going to post links to my Google documents that I used for this test, so you can look at it as well. So for the second one, at one point in here, they had to use they had to use measurements of a scale diagram and the real object to find what the scale was. So what I did for that one is I had a picture. See this board behind me? I took a picture of it and I printed it off to a specific scale. So if they measured the height of the picture and I told them the height of the real board, they could find the scale. Yes, absolutely, you can do it in different ways. You can get them to measure that and the picture and find the scale, right? There's all sorts of things you can do, but I wanted to break it up into different questions. So that one was they knew the size of the big board. They could measure the size of the small picture of the board and then find the scale. Then so that was a reduction, right? A scale reduction. And then for them to show me what they knew about scale enlargement, I gave them these. So this is just an ordinary dice that you can get from anywhere. This is a big foam dice, which you can get on the dollar store in Canada, or at least on Ontario. And it's like $2 for these. And I have a couple of them. They are great to have in the classroom just in general. So what the students did is they measured the size of one side of the small dice. I gave them the approximate scale factor for the big dice, and they had to figure out how tall this dice was just from that, not measuring it, but just from using the scale factor. So that's how I worked in scale reductions and scale enlargements. My last question was all about using personal references for measurements to estimate the size of something. So what I did is I gave them an object, say it's this paper clip, but it wasn't. It was something else, like a business card. It was a Kleenex box. I tried to make it different for each student, just stuff that I had sitting on my desk. I asked them, which personal reference would you use to measure this? And we had worked on that throughout this unit. And in fact, on page 64, if you have this book, we did that activity. So they were able to refer to this if they wanted to when they answered this question. So they picked a personal reference they wanted to use to estimate the length. And then I asked them to use that reference to actually estimate. They would tell me the estimate, and then we would actually measure it to see how close they were. So things I was looking for in that question, they would tell me which personal reference they were using. Was it a reasonable personal reference? Were they using the length of their arm to measure something that was this big? Or were they using something like the width of their 3 fingers or a pinky? And then I was looking for how they use their personal reference to get the estimate. Were they usually using it appropriately? And then was their estimate anywhere close to the actual measurement? And if it wasn't, I asked them why. I would ask them a follow-up question, about why they thought that might be. And I gave them a rating on a rubric. Did they have little to no understanding of scale, of estimates using personal references? That was a level 1. Did they have some understand? Was a level 2. Good understanding was a level 3. And then a high level of understanding is a level 4. And then you could go in between those as needed. So it went well. The students seemed to like it better than a written exam. I did ask them, do you like this better? And I said, thumbs up if you like this better, thumbs down if you like written better, and thumbs up if you're like, I don't care. it's an L class, so I didn't expect a lot. So I got a few thumbs up. Maybe I got one that they liked the written better, and everyone else was like, it doesn't really matter to me. But I did hear some students say during the test that they really liked it better because it was hands-on and they got to move around. So that's what I've done. I will share the test and the slides that I use as my stations. So you can see what I've done, and I'll attach the rubric as well so you can see. I did not mark each question, with a marking scheme or anything. I just said, did they have a good understanding of the terms, of personal references, of measuring things in centimeters and millimeters, of scale reductions, scale enlargement? What was their understanding like? It wasn't, okay, they got 4 marks out of 5 because they hit these things. So it was quite different for me, but I really enjoyed creating it and I really enjoyed giving it. So I'm going to continue this with my 2L class, and I also have a 1L class, so I'm going to switch everything, their testing, over to stuff like this because I really want their exams, their final exams, to be like that. Please let me know if you've done this and if you have any suggestions or if you have any questions or comments. Let me know below, or you can tweet me. I am at Ms. A. Gilbert on Twitter. So please let me know anything you have to say. And if you like these videos, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe and comment away. And maybe I'll do videos in the future because this is fun for me. So see you soon. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye-bye.